Hey, welcome back. So today we are going to record and edit audio and write a demo. So let's get into it. Okay, we're going to launch the template that we made. You can also go to File, and then your most recent save is right there. You don't necessarily have to use a start screen. Okay, so now we got the template here, and we're going to expand the view of the drums, because I need that to be a little bit, let's see what we're doing. And then we're going to arm the track, and then we'll see, first thing, test the volume. And that's too loud. So I think it's because I didn't have the volume on the drum machine up all the way when I set the template. That's on me. So now I'm bringing it down to like around between -6 and -12. Now that the overload light there, if you click on that, it will clear, but it'll show you if you're peaking and you're overloading the signal, and that's kind of important to note. And honestly, levels, as long as you're sitting around between -6 at the peak at the most loudest and -12 or quieter than that, you're fine. See, you're fine. All right, and that's recording the drums in stereo. Okay, so I lost the track of me, the screenshot track of me recording bass. So we're kind of in a spot now where we're getting ready to edit the drums, but I don't have that video in between. So we're just going to jump ahead. The process is exactly the same. So tracking is still arm your track and go, and then make sure your inputs are fine. So we're gonna go ahead and get the file ready to edit drums. Now, in order to do that, we have to do a little bit of prep work. I've got to insert a MIDI track, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the built-in drum kit to do that. And there it is. And it looks a little something like this. So this is just so that I can make a click track that I can line the drums up with. I need to have a reference that is perfect to start with. So go ahead, and we've created the virtual instrument by right-clicking and going to virtual instrument. And you also have, this is the MIDI roll that comes up when you double-click on this space. That's in the middle. So I'm going to go track. I believe it's from C. Here we go. That's one of them. And then that's my hi-hat right there. So I'm going to go ahead and write some notes. And there's a snare, there's a hi-hat. So what I want to do is I want to use the snare for the accent of the 1, and then the hi-hat for the quarter notes afterwards. The quarter notes are this is just making a count. A 4-bar 4-note count. So I have to switch it over to draw in order to draw notes, and then you kind of line yourself up with that, and then you can draw a note right here, and it's going to be longer, but that doesn't matter because these are short sounds anyways. And I'm doing exactly 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to do the snare right here on the accent. So that way I know when the next measure starts. I've got an audible sound that tells me that. Okay, now we want to copy this a few times. So I'm going to go ahead and mute everything else because I don't want to hear it. I want to just play back everything. That's why I did solo here. Solo, by the way, that the S in the middle of every track will just let you play back just the one track and automatically mute everything else. So that's another way of doing it. You can just go ahead and hit the solo button if you want to just hear what's on one track. You don't really need it that much, especially not for mixing. So now one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch over. Yeah, so that's fine. One of the things I wanted to do is kind of make these shorter, but I'll get into that later. Yeah, I'm going to switch over to select. I'm going to select, so left click and hold it, and then swipe over all of the notes and they will turn white. And now they're selected. So now I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to go copy. And then I'm going to go move. See, this is where the snap to comes in handy. We're snapping to exactly 2 and then pasting it. Exactly 3, and then we're going to paste it. Exactly 4, and then we're going to paste it. So now I've got 4, 5, and 6 measures of perfect count. Starts on the 1, ends at the 4, and it's lined up and everything's cool. Now I've got a bunch of different pieces up here that are in the MIDI. This is actually MIDI, so that's the way MIDI looks. It's just notes. I'm going to go ahead and left click and highlight all of them, and then I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to go to bounce to clips. That makes one big piece here that we can move around and copy if we wanted to. So now we've got our click track in place, and everything's cool there. Okay, so the next thing we have to talk about is we have to talk about muting these tracks. We're going to zoom in to that first track. We need to talk about the snap up here. Snap. I want to set this to a musical time. The reason I want to do that is because, and I'm going to set it to 16th notes because that's kind of what we need to move by. It may have to be 30-second notes, but that's okay. The first thing I want to do, if you notice that if you hover over, it will move the cursor to that spot. You cannot move the cursor in between here anywhere. That's when we get ready to move these components around. I want to move by a specific amount. I don't want to just freeform it. Now I am going to, if you notice that this is 1 and then this is pretty far off when you zoom in, I am in the beginning, this is, I'm just hovering on the middle here and zooming that out. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut this little piece of audio out and then move the whole thing over to line up with 1, and then we're going to start there. So what I'm going to have to do here is first turn the snap off. See, that's on and off right there. That little grid button. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to click the on the top part of the timeline here and move the cursor to there, and then right click and go split. Now what we're doing is we're cutting these 2 sections in half. Now see how this section, okay. Now what I'm going to do is switch back to select. If I select all of the rest, all the drums I just recorded, that's to the right, and to the left here is this little blank piece. I'm going to highlight that so that it's a little lighter right there, and I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. Now there's nothing there. I just cut that little piece out and threw it away. What I want to do is I want to move this over. But right now, it doesn't really matter as much. I don't have to have the snap to grid on it because I know I'm taking it right to 0. I'm going to go switch on, click on this move tool right here, and I'm going to highlight this piece, and I'm just going to hold the left button down and drag it to there and let it go. So now the first kick drum we know is perfectly lined up with that click. And I'm going to zoom out, and you should be able to see. See? It's perfect. Now we have to figure out where the rest of this stuff goes, and then that will be the next cut I make, which will probably be around here. Okay, so a couple things here. We're at 9 minutes and 20 seconds with this video right now, and I kind of don't want to make these videos, each section, more than 10 minutes long. And there's a reason for that. I think it's overwhelming, and I know for a fact that I've gone through videos and go, oh wow, this is 25 minutes. I don't have that kind of time. So you won't watch, a lot of people won't watch videos if they're longer than 10 minutes, and that's kind of the sweet spot. So I'm going to get into the rest of editing on the next video, and that will take us all the way up to having a good solid drum loop that you can either copy or modify or move around. There are easier ways to do this, and that is MIDI and virtual tracks, and we're going to get into that in the next videos in the future. And until then, here's some music to roll us out. We'll see you next time.